deadly wound, according to Revelation 13, where the beast receives its deadly wound. When you calculate the amount of years, this calculates to exactly 1,260 years. This tells us exactly how long this papal power would exercise its authority on the earth. We discovered that it would be for a period of 1,260 years. Is this a record that is found in history? Yes. And there was a decree basically made by, it was referenced by Mike earlier, by Justinian. And this decree was at 538 A.D., okay? And counting down 1,260 years later, we come to the date 1798, where the French general Berthier marched into Rome with his armies and basically yanked the Pope off of his throne. He was carried away into exile, and all the properties of the church was confiscated. So here, too, we see an exact fulfillment of prophecy. Now, if you have any questions, and if you want to call in, you can call in on our toll-free line, 646-378-0987. And also I was referencing the website to look at. But a lot of this information that we're going over can be found on the website, www.truthaboutSundayWorship.com. You can also look at www.amazingfacts.com. And you can also look at this other website, which is www.remnantofgod.org. Now, I did ask earlier, how does these points relate to our salvation? Okay. The Bible talks about in the book of Revelation how a beast, and we already discussed that a beast represents a kingdom, okay? A kingdom, a religious and political kingdom would arise that would force worship on the masses. And according to Daniel, we see that this same power has spoken great words against the Most High by claiming to be God on earth, by claiming to have the power to forgive people's sins. We see that this political entity called the Roman Catholic system will one day force its mark upon all mankind. And according to the scriptures, we find those that will receive the mark, and we find those that will refuse it. And how do we refuse the mark of the beast according to the Bible? It's found in Revelation chapter 14. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith in Jesus Christ. So many have been speculating, oh, maybe the mark of the beast is it's a microchip, or maybe it's a computer in Brussels, or maybe it's a social security number, or maybe it's your cell phone. All these speculations, but we have to look from the Bible. The Bible has to interpret its own symbols. It has to interpret its own self, basically, line upon line, precept upon precept. Did you have any questions pertaining to this? You can always call in 646-378-0987.
Okay,
now,
and
go ahead.
Rick, we've got a caller. If you're interested, we definitely bring this person on and see what his question is.
Sure, of course.
Okay, whoever this is, it's the 304 area code. Hello, hold on one second here. Okay, let's see, 304 area code, I think it's bringing it. You're on the air, sir.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fine. I got a question that might challenge you, because I get a feeling this guy's talking about the pagan calendar of Yehovah versus the Father's calendar, and we're not talking the Rabbi's calendar either. The 490 days of the 70-week prophecy, right, was a fulfillment of the spring feast by Yeshua, or what you know as Jesus, and where we have types and shadows going back. So he mentioned 360 days in the calendar year. Yeah, that was pre-existing Noah flood day. But now we know that we observe the new month by the moon when it first crescents, which it can go in conjunction, where we don't see it, for anywhere from a day to 2.5 days. Therefore, and we know the new year because we know the barley's Aviv in the ear of the corn, and that's how we know the new year, by the Father's calendar, right? So when we're looking at Daniel's prophecy, the 70 weeks, when Christ said, when you see the abomination of desolation standing in the place where it shouldn't be, it tells you to read the book of Daniel. So the 490, so 70 weeks is 490 days. And that's how we know the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Passover, First Fruits, Pentecost, where Christ fulfilled all them fall feasts. Now when we go into, those were the spring feasts. Now when we go into the fall feasts, right, has the Messiah fulfilled the fall feast? Because it said that a lot of people get mixed up that they want to build this temple on the Mount of Jerusalem, and they want to slit a heifer's throat and dedicate the altar. Which we know Christ was that lamb, that sacrifice. He put an end to all that. So we know in the middle of the week he's going to put an end to the abominations, right?
Yeah.
And do all this. Now you're speaking of the Catholic Church. I submit to you, we're speaking of all the churches: Baptist, Lutheran, Protestant. You're actually speaking of all of them. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, and Rick, if you could give me a minute, I'd like to answer this. First of all, sir, by the way, I appreciate your calling. Thank you very much. And when I'm done here, I'll let you respond too. So I want you to realize that. What we're talking about today is not the 70 weeks of Daniel, that prophecy. That is a separate prophecy from the prophecy that we're referring to. And by the way, we will talk about the 70 weeks of Daniel prophecy, which is really a prophecy. It's of a theology they call futurism. I'm not sure if you're familiar with preterism, historicism, and futurism. It's a doctrine or a theology that believes that the Antichrist does not exist now in the world, but will arrive down at the end of time, and so on. And that's where they get this 70 weeks of Daniel.
No, I don't believe in that stuff. So
okay. Well, I'm just telling you that's. Yeah, but I'm just telling you that that's what futurism espouses, is that the 70 weeks is a reference to the Antichrist, as you mentioned, going into the temple, the third temple, and sacrificing a heifer and so on. But in any case, let me say this, because this is more to the point. The point is this, is that all of these prophecies, whether it be in the sacred calendar year or the civil calendar year, all Jewish time reckoning was always done by the 30-day calendar month. They operate on a lunar monthly cycle, which is like it's anywhere from 28 days to 31 days, but they use 30 days for their month. But here's how they do it. In a sense, we do a
but you said how we do it. How does the Father tell us to do it?
Yeah, but the prophecy is written in Jewish calendar time reckoning. It's not written in the Father's time reckoning. And by the way, I understand.
But we can go back. We have the technology now. We can go back, and we can see where the moon was in conjunction, and the agriculture records that we can go back where the barley's Aviv in April or May, according to the pagan calendar, right? Because when you say January, February, March, April, those are all pagan gods. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, those are all pagan gods. So we can't judge prophecy based on the calendar that we have hanging up on our kitchen.
We're not. We were referring to the Jewish time reckoning calendar, which is 30 days. It's the lunar month, and that's what the prophecy is written in, and that's what we're using to go by to arrive at this date. And there is no change in the translation from the Jewish calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which is the calendar we use today. There is no difference there.